Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Dad Project. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. This is the first one back for 2022, so I appreciate you joining me for what we're going to go through today. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. I obviously took a week off doing the podcast last week. Had a week with my family. The kids had an absolute blast on Christmas. I hope your families did too. And I hope you did as well. But we're into 2022, and we're at that time of year where I'm sure it's highlighted maybe what went right, what went wrong last year. It's that time where people do tend to make some resolutions, and regardless of what you believe about resolutions and what your goal is, I think sometimes turning the page and turning the calendar on a new year is a decent catalyst to try and make some changes in your life. And I know that there are a lot of people around there, and I do tend to err on this side of the spectrum, in the fact that I don't believe you should, if you're ready to make a change, you need to necessarily wait for a new year. But hey, if it's a catalyst for you to do it, all power to you. I hope that whatever your goals are and whatever you want to achieve this year, I hope you can make it happen. And I hope you can do the work. And I hope you have a plan to get there. And today I just wanted to touch on, because the last 2 years for the vast majority of people that I have dealt with haven't gone to plan. Maybe it's gone better than what the plan is, and maybe it has gone worse than what the plan is. For me, there's been times where it's gone better. There's been times where it's gone worse. There's been times where I've needed to really look introspectively at some of the actions I've been taking, some of the things that I've wanted, some of the goals that I've set for myself, and really try and work out exactly what direction I want to take certain aspects of my life, because there are a lot of things that have happened over the last 2 years that have caused circumstances outside of my control, as it has been with everybody, which can cause, from a mental point of view, it can really just cause you to get into this spiral of feeling sorry for yourself. I've felt sorry for myself more times than I can count over the last 2 years. And other times outside of that as well. It hasn't just been in this current climate, but it can cause you to kind of get into this spiral where you feel helpless, you feel like you've got no control, you feel like doesn't matter what you do, everything's going to be wrong. Doesn't matter what corner you turn around, there is just something waiting for you. And it can be really defeating and really hard. And I think that when the new year rolls around, as it has this year, there's always that feeling of optimism for a lot of people. And that's where the resolutions come in. That's where the reassessment of our goals comes in. That's where, planning and wanting to be better every year comes in. And the fact is, things aren't going to go to plan. And it doesn't matter whether it is external circumstances or it's internal circumstances. Sometimes those goals aren't going to happen. And we can get into this mindset, this defeatist mindset, where it is hard to overcome the fact that there are going to be some things that are outside of control. But you always have a choice. You always have a choice whether you continue to fight for what it is that you want out of your new year or your new set of circumstances, or you give up, you put it in the too hard basket, and you move on to something else. And each of those choices has consequences. And one of the consequences to giving up can be regret. One of the consequences of trying to push through can be loss of time or wasted time. So it can sometimes be hard, and it's sometimes hard to really step back and objectively look at what needs to be done. But I guess the big thing that when it comes to not being able to get a particular goal that you want, you really need to be is adaptable. You need to be adaptable to the situation. You need to be adaptable to your emotions, to your mental state, to your physical state as well, and just understand that not everything's going to go to plan. In fact, when I was sitting down and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about on this particular podcast, And not just the last 2 years, but everything, like a lot of things over the course of the last 10, 15, 20 years through my adult life, there's been a lot of shit that hasn't gone to plan. And when I looked at kind of what got me through, or what got me to come in out the other side of particular circumstances, it was just really being determined to make that change and be resilient, but not just being resilient, being adaptable. Because I think all too often, and I see it a lot with people that I work with within the gym, they have this ideal situation that this is the set of circumstances that I need for everything to be fulfilled in order for me to take action on what I need to take action on. And then when that doesn't happen, everything kind of falls in a heap, and they're not able to continue on that goal or continue on that path that they want to go down in order to get to the particular goal that they want. And when it comes to making change, if you're not willing to be adaptable with your plan, it's not going to happen, because things are always going to change. Life's fluid. Our circumstances are fluid. And even the goals that we want to achieve have to be malleable and have to be able to be adapted to the different set of circumstances that are going to come our way. So when you're sitting down this year and you're thinking about the changes that you want to make in your life, I've spoken about on this podcast many a times about how having a plan's important. And it is. It's probably one of the most important things when it comes to making change and when it comes to moving things in a different direction to where it's going now. Having like a very stepped out plan. And then obviously taking action on that plan is the part B of that, because without, if you don't have the plan, the action that you're taking cannot be guided. But if you just simply sitting down and writing a plan is not going, and then not taking action on it is not going to get you anywhere. But then the third part of that, when I've sat down and I've looked at different things in my life, and I think it's kind of 3A and 3B. 3A is to be determined and resilient when you do come up against adversity, because adversity is going to happen, whether it be a circumstance that is within your control, like it's something that you have done that needs to change, or it's an external set of circumstances that are outside of your control that keep putting roadblocks up in your road. So being resilient is one, but then being resilient in a way where you are adaptable to the different set of circumstances that are being thrown at you. Because it's one thing to be resilient and keep beating your head against that brick wall in the hope that you're going to break through it. But if there's a door directly to your left and you just continually beat your head against a brick wall, you're probably going to knock yourself out and not actually get through it. So you need to be adaptable and be able to change the approach. And that might be just changing the approach on a particular day or a particular week, or it may mean that the plan needs to be adapted to a different set of circumstances. Because if we take it back to something I know very well, and it's people trying to make a change around their overall health and well-being, and we look at training, and say, for example, you join up a facility like we've got here where there's set class times, and then for the first month, everything's going well. The timetable's working out. Work's not that busy, or maybe work is busy, but like the classes that you've set aside, you're doing your Monday, Wednesday, Friday at a particular time, and that's working out. And then all of a sudden something happens. Your work circumstances change. Maybe something happens with the kids' sports and you've got to change the days that you come. And if you're not willing to be adaptable and sit down and look at it and go, all right, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday I can't do, but maybe I can do a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or I can change it. And I've seen it all too often where people are so set on this plan and they're like, it's been working. And then circumstances change, and they're not willing to adapt the plan, because what I truly believe is the underlying issue. There's two underlying issues, but the big one is maybe they just freak out because they've seen this headway and they don't know how to adapt. And if you don't know how to adapt to it, reach out and talk to somebody. If it's a fitness thing, talk to your coach, talk to your trainer. If it's a lifestyle thing, or maybe it's a mental thing, like go and talk to someone, seek help. I know the amount of times that I've said this in this podcast may be exhausting, and for those of you that have listened kind of all the way through, I think the biggest thing that we do as men is we think that just because something has been working for a particular amount of time, it needs to continue to work, and there's potentially something wrong with us if it stops working or it doesn't work. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes the approach needs to be adapted. And if you're struggling to adapt it, then looking for help and seeking help to get you adapted is going to save you so much heartache and so much time, so much wasted time, that you will be able to get to your goals quicker, or you don't actually have to adapt the end goal because you are adapting your approach with the extra set of eyes that is there to try and help you get to where you want to go. So in this time and in this period where a lot of people are looking at their goals, they've turned the page on what's potentially been a bad year, and they've kind of gone, right, I am locked in to change these particular things. And then you go through the process that we've talked about, where you've set yourself out a plan. You know what you want to achieve. You've set out your priorities, and you understand that this change is very high on your priority list. And then the plan starts working, but then you have to then go and adapt that plan. Then be adaptable. And if you are unsure on how to adapt the plan, seek help. Get somebody to give you a hand with what is going on. Give somebody to give you a hand with how you need to adapt your approach, because being adaptable in today's day and age, and then being determined to follow through on that, is a very, very big trait, or a very helpful trait that will hopefully get you to where you want to go. Wish you all the very best for this calendar year. I hope everything you want to work for, you are able to get to. And I will see you all next week. Goodbye.